So I did save it as an EOF, and you're going to want to export it as an SVG because I usually do my cutting in Cricut Design Space. I have noticed that when I'm exporting my SVGs in Studio Next here, that it's not coming through, and I'm not sure why. So what I've been doing is I'm just saving this as a regular studio format. So design, save in regular studio compatible format. And I already saved it once. Molar flower, lesson 5. I know earlier in the video I said lesson 4, but I had to cut it into 2. So lesson 5, quilt in the hoop, studio regular. So I already saved it once, but this is what you would name it. And then you'd click save. It's going to ask me if I want to overwrite. Okay. And then you go into studio regular and open it. But I just realized I made another mistake. I made this template too big. It has to be, the entire template has to be slightly smaller than my hoop. See, I'm so used to making stencils for my long arm, and those can be larger, you know, because you're not hooping, you're using them as a stencil. And I've been making a lot of those lately. So now my brain is thinking stencil size. So this entire design, you know, the entire rectangle has to be made slightly smaller than my hoop. Sorry, guys. But you can see if I would have made it the size of my hoop, the size of my hoop is only 8 inches tall, so it's 200 mils tall. I'll just take this red one, Control C, Control V. So I'm just going to change this to say purple. And my hoop is 200 by 240, so this has to be quite a bit smaller. So let's go into transformation window, size, and so I can go about 230. I'm not having aspect ratio checked. I can go about 230 wide, but then for this, I might be cutting this pretty close. I could only go, say, 190 because my hoop is 200 tall. And then hit apply. It'll stay centered. Let's see where that takes me. I barely have any ghosts. So I don't even have this ghost showing, or this one, but I have these in here. I have those. So technically then I should have made everything smaller. I mean, if I wanted to keep everything, you know, these ghosts as big as they are and so on, which they really didn't need to be that big, but I do want to have these in here, then technically what I should do is just make the whole everything smaller. In which case I wouldn't have to go through and slicing the objects again. I could just leave it like this. So there you go. I made a complete mistake. I think that's what I'll do. That means that this design is going to be really small. Because right now, let's hit the check mark on that. Right now, you know, for quilting, let me take my measuring tape from here to here. It's 59 mils. That's 25 is 1 inch. So it's a little over 2 inches. So that's kind of a big gap with quilting. So this would be a really open quilt. If I were to shrink it, let's hit stop. Let's just, we'll hit Control A and then I'll deselect the purple. And I'm just going to make everything small enough to fit in my hoop. Because I want to be able to tape my template to my fabric and then put my hoop over that. That's how I hoop. That's how I make sure that it's straight and everything. I have a technique, and I do have a lot of videos on that where I show that, and I'll try to find some of them and give you guys a link to how I quilt in the hoop and how I tape it to the fabric and whatnot. So let's go ahead and just make this 230 transformation window. I do have to keep my aspect ratio because these have to stay round looking. So if I make this 230, I'm pretty sure this will go under 200. So let's make this 230. Since my hoop is 240. Okay, so that is definitely under. So let's just try that and see what kind of spacing we have. Okay. And so I'll just leave that purple one there for a minute. Hit the OK button. And let's do a Control 1. And let's get our tape measure and let's measure this distance now. Okay, so it's about 1 inch. I mean, I guess that's okay. I guess that's okay. So that meant then that my design, let's hit stop. My design, the flower now is 100 by 100, 95 by 92. So it's like, 4 inches. And then this gap in between, remember it was 3/4. I don't know how I was doing it though. I'll just kind of measure like that. Let's go into Imperial. Okay. Whoops. Delete. Okay, let me hit stop and redo it again. Sorry. Tape measure. Okay, so now it's down to a 1/2 inch between. I guess that's okay. I kind of like that better, but my design is a lot smaller now. Let's hit stop. It's at almost a 1-to-1 here. So let's just click this. It'll take us to 1-to-1. So that's how it would look on your quilt. And that's not bad. That really is not bad. So the moral of this story is I messed up on the size from the beginning because I thought I was making a stencil for the long arm. My brain was on autopilot. But it actually worked out okay for me, to be honest. And so now to export it as an SVG, we have to save it as a regular studio format first. And the reason is because there's something going on with Studio Next, at least my version, that when you export an SVG if you do design, export, export SVG. It doesn't work. It doesn't, like here I tried it, you could see it's blank. And you could see it's only 493. I don't know, it's gotta be, is that bytes? I don't know. There's like nothing in it. So we have to first save it as a regular studio format, and then open it in regular studio, and then export it from there as an SVG. So before I even do that, I'll tell you I forgot something else. I'm really making a lot of mistakes here today. I forgot to put my crosshair in, because we like to use a crosshair when we're lining things up. So I'll just click the outline tool and give it a minute. Okay, and I'm gonna click, but I want to show my grid. Now I can't show the grid when I'm in this mode. So let me just click down here and I'll just, it's on straight line, that's good. I'm just gonna hit enter. View, layout, grid. And I'm gonna edit this while it's selected. And I'm gonna snap to grid, and I'm gonna snap to object edge as well. That's already selected. So I'm gonna take this node and snap it. Let me zoom in on it. Magnifier. And so you can see I'm snapping to the grid and to the object. Doesn't seem like it's snapped. Yeah, that's weird. Snapping to the grid. Okay. But I swear it does not seem like it's snapping. Let me move this with my right mouse. Yeah, it's not. And I have them both checked here. Interesting. I don't know. I can't zoom in any more than that. You can see it's not snapping. It snaps down here, but as soon as I get up to the outlet, the object edge, it doesn't want to. It gets confused. Okay, that's better. Let's go back to 1:1. Come down here. Boy. Still need a lot of work here. Let's zoom in down here. I'm snapping it to the blue because remember the blue is what is going to be drawn. So we don't want to snap it out here. This is kind of like our excess. And actually, I probably could have made this bigger and not had such a big margin here, but we're going to let that go for now. And I'll hit enter. I'll hit Control-1 to zoom into that. I'm going to Control-C, Control-V while it's selected. Select this one and do object. I'm sorry, transform. Flip and rotate, and we'll just rotate it right. And let's see, this rectangle is 216.5 wide. So click on this. Transformation window. Size. 216.5, enter, apply, check, and we'll just group these hold control to select them both, and then right click group, group 1. We'll just move this up. We'll have it stitch before the rectangle, but after these, not stitch, draw. And it's funny, it almost looked like it was a different color, but it's not. So hopefully I didn't make any other mistakes. Like I said, I probably could have made this rectangle bigger and not had such a a gap here. But I don't know. I guess I'm okay with that. If I were going to make this bigger, I would just select everything but the red. I'd do Control A and then hold Control. And then with this, I'd go to Transform, Transformation Window, and then Size. Keep the aspect ratio on, and I'd bump it up. Maybe, I don't know, a 1/4 inch is 6 mils, so I would take this to 222. But I'm just going to leave it for now, but just so you know, you could do that. So now, Lisa, did you make any other mistakes? Let's hit Control S. Oh, that's right, I have to save it again because I opened it a different way off camera. So this is, I'm calling it now Lesson 6. So we'll save it like that. And now we're going to save it in regular studio format. We'll go to Design, Save in regular studio compatible format. And regular Embird outline format. It's weird, it says Embird outline format here, but on the previous screen it said save in regular studio format. So don't let that confuse you. So anyways, looks like I might have, okay, no, I didn't. Oh, I had this up here already from before. So Molar Flower Lesson 6, Studio Regular. So that's how you want to save it. So it's basically this file name, but with an SR at the end. So I know it's for Studio Regular, and I shortened it as well a little bit. And save. And then we go into Editor so that we can open up Studio Regular. So you'll just click on your taskbar to get back to Editor. You click on Embird icon. And here's Studio Regular. And I've been wondering too if now that I made it smaller, if I actually could have gotten 2 of these in one hooping. I don't know. It's not letting me select it now, probably because I have Studio Regular open. I can look here. Design, open. Lesson 6, Studio Regular, open. Control A, Control 1. Yeah, I am going to see. I'm going to copy and paste this. Control C, Control V. I just want to see if I could, in fact, have made 2 of them. So if I take this one and now see with these, I might be able to, well, I'm just going to kind of wing it. I'll just put this one here. let's go ahead and I'll just copy and paste, Control C, Control V. I'll just make these two purple. I mean, they'd have to be, you know, like that, kind of. Show hide. Hide selected, just so I can see. Yeah, I don't know. It's close. It's definitely close. And like I said, I could have made the blue one bigger. I think it was something like that. So it would be tight, but I probably could have gotten two of them in here. Control Alt C. Yeah, if I would make the blue one bigger, I could have done it. I don't know if this is too tight or not. So just so you know, you probably could have managed it if your hoop was like mine and if you had this size and so on and so on. And notice I'm still not connecting them because I just don't like the way it looks. So in this case, let me think. Yeah, I mean, we'd still have ghosts, but you'd only see them like here and here, maybe a little bit here, but and here, but not much. Not much. I mean, you would definitely see them here and here. So that's good to know at least. So I'll just click those to show them again. So here we are then in Studio Regular, and we're just going to export it as an SVG. Design, export as an SVG. It looks like I did it already. This one is not even gonna work, so I'm just gonna delete it. But this one, it looks like I saved it once, but I'll do it again. Studio Regular Direct SVG. So it's coming directly from Studio Regular. Yes. And then you would go into Cricut Design Space and open it there. So in Design Space, here's the Home tab, and you would want to go to the Canvas tab, and then you'd hit Upload, Upload Image, Browse, and let's see. Here it is. I saved it in so many different ways, but here it is here, Studio Regular Direct. I didn't save it as an SVGZ this time because I found out that Cricut Design Space worked fine, just saving it as an SVG. Sometimes Cricut Design Space doesn't open my SVGs and I have to convert them to SVGZ in Inkscape. Basically, you just open up the SVG in Inkscape and then you save it as an SVGZ. But for some reason, Cricut Design is working fine with the SVGs, so we don't have to go to Inkscape or anything. At least for this one. And who knows? They make all kind of updates and change things and whatnot. So there it is, and you'll hit continue. and they allow you to put in an image name and tags and whatnot. Hit upload. And once you upload it, you just want to check the size and make sure that it's the same size as it was in Studio. So here's my size. I have it in Imperial 9 by 5/8. So let's just go to Studio next because I can easily go to Imperial to see it. And to kind of give it a minute, clicking outside, something locked up. I'm going to close Studio Regular. It does seem like sometimes save changes. No. Yeah, see, if you hit Control Alt Delete and go to Task Manager, you'll see that Studio Next locked up. See, digitize not responding. So there you go. So I'm going to open Studio Next again. So here in Studio Next, we can see if we look down here that it's 9.055 wide. So let's go back into Cricut Design Space. And here we are, size is exactly the same, 9.055 wide. So we're good. So in Cricut Design Space, you'll see that it's, solid red and you wonder why. Well, that's because the outlines from Studio Next, let's do Control 1. These outlines, when you bring them into Cricut Design Space, they get filled in because they're considered like a cut object. But that's okay because we're going to fix everything. So we click on this drop down arrow and you can see all our objects. They're all grouped, and you can tell if you hover here, it lets you ungroup them. So with this selected, you could click it just like this and still ungroup it. So click ungroup. So everything is ungrouped and still selected. So we're going to hold Control and deselect these two. And with the rest of the objects select, we're going to come up here to the same icon and click it again. Now it says group. So they grouped and they jumped to the top. Now in Design Space, objects that are up at the top are kind of like the last ones to not stitch in this case, but draw or cut or what have you. So it's opposite of Embird. Embird, the last ones are at the bottom. So that's fine. That's up at the top. We can see them now. But we want the blue to show. So let's take it and drag it up. You can see the line there. So now we see the blue. And we want the blue and the flowers to be a drawing. And so over here at Operation, we click and we want a drawing and we want a pen drawing. You click that and everything changes to whatever color your pen is. In this case, it's black, but we could, change it to any color. But we'll leave it black, that's fine. So these two are draws. Even this one, if we toggle it, you could see they're all draws. And this one, the red, is the cut. So now we hit Control A and we attach everything so that everything is on one mat. And then we save it. And it's Molar flower Quilt in the Hoop 6. That's what I'll call it here. We'll save that. Okay, and then you click Make. And this is only 9 inches wide, and my mat is 11.5 inches wide, so I don't have to rotate it or anything. So then we'll just take it and kind of bring it in the center here more. It's okay that I waste this little bit of material. And you could see everything's on one mat, the pen and the cut. It's a 24-inch long mat. And you just hit continue. You could see my mat, is long. You'll hit continue. And my machine is not connected because I'm in the process of moving and it's packed away. So this is never gonna go any farther. But if it were connected, if my machine were turned on, you would have a continue button at the bottom and it would take you to the settings. And the settings that you want to use are oil acetate. That's kind of what they call the stencil material. They call it acetate. I don't know what the word foil means, but that's what you want to use. And then pressure of 350, and then you want to hit the more button. And so when you hit continue down here, that's when you'll get your settings, and then it'll draw first with your marker or what have you. I use a Sharpie marker. I just make it fit by taping it and putting padding around it or what have you, because I don't use their expensive Cricut pens and markers because they dry out if you don't use them all the time, and I don't use it that much. So the Sharpies we use all the time, so that's what I use. So it'll do the Sharpie and then it'll cut the rectangle, the outer rectangle. Okay. Now for the stencil sheets or the template sheets, these are very similar to the ones that I use. What's important is the thickness, which is the 6 mil. That's how thick or thin they are. They're easy to cut with the regular blade that comes with your Cricut machine. And you want them to be 24 inches long, just so that you have enough. I guess if you're using them for your embroidery machine, though, they probably don't have to be this long, but I use them for other things, like stencils for my long arm. So anyways, yeah, so if you just want to kind of go into Amazon and put in the search bar 6 mil Mylar stencil sheets. The ones that I have right now, though, I don't really like them because they're real shiny, and I like the matte textured ones, or that they look slightly cloudy. The ones that Joanne Fabrics sells. They are more expensive though, but I do like them better. And as far as my video when you're at the machine and how you line this up, there is a video on my YouTube channel. So when you're in YouTube, if you just go to the search bar and put in WeQuilt Studio, you'll find my channel, and you'll go to the playlist tab and you'll scroll down, and there's Quilt in the Hoop, WeQuilt, and view full playlist. And there is a video, there's 34 videos here, but there is one that I think is pretty good on showing you my system of how I use the templates and just my technique, at the machine. So it's Quilt in the Hoop with Applique Part 9. That's the one you might want to check out. There's so many more too that you can look at, but that one might be one of the first ones you might want to look at in reference to this lesson. Okay, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful for you, and at least it'll get you started in quilting in the hoop. And feel free to write me or email me anytime if you have any questions about your quilt in the hoop ventures. I'm always happy to help. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.